From the mountains to the rivers to the grassland and everywhere in between, China has firmly implemented its commitment to the environment. The approval of landmark legislation, adoption of a sweeping environmental code, a cornerstone, if you will, as the nation moves forward with modernization and at the same time showing man and nature can coexist. As spring approaches, the Futian National Nature Reserve comes to life. A day in the wild Zhang Xuan has been looking forward to for months.
It's very diverse and very important to China's environment. In the past, there was almost nothing here, but over the past 40 years, the changes have been enormous. Shenzhen has become very beautiful.
Nestled in the shadow of one of the busiest cities on earth, this time of year, 100,000 migratory birds call this lush mangrove home.
But down here, a much different picture. It looks like just a collection of mud and some twisted trees. But this mangrove is actually critically important to China's environment. And the country has been working to not only preserve these, but also make sure that they grow for environmental reasons. They do so much. These trees, if you will, knock down a storm surge from a punishing typhoon. It's also home to an array of wildlife. But perhaps most importantly, mangroves are really a storage area for carbon dioxide, an area that grasps carbon dioxide and hangs on to it, and that fights greenhouse gases.
Senior ranger at the reserve nimbly wades through the muck here frequently. It's his job to make sure the mangrove is healthy and thriving in the battle against climate change.
种子，它的这个石膏，我说你，种子，你看，我看，扎下去，它就这样，扎到泥巴里面，看吧，这样，它就是从这里生长出来了，就是这样。
He's always on the lookout for disease or insect damage, keeping the mangrove safe for the city and its wildlife.
Nature is extremely important to us. Being able to step outside and see these precious mangroves and waterbirds is one of the greatest gifts nature has given to Shenzhen.
The chief engineer here, Yang Qiang, says this is the only national nature reserve in the heart of a city. There was a time, decades ago, when mangroves were viewed as a nuisance, a hindrance to development, and were being destroyed.
But today we realize mangroves must be protected. They provide clean air and oxygen and many ecological benefits. More importantly, they show us cities and nature can coexist harmoniously.
Not far away, traffic motors in and out of Shenzhen. High above, pedestrians safely cross. But this structure isn't really designed for them. 90% of this bridge is constructed and maintained to allow animals to scurry through the thick vegetation from mountain to mountain. It's all carefully planned using some 80 local tree and other plant species.
In fact, the entire ecological system was designed from the perspective of the animals. We tried to imagine how animals would move and behave and design the bridge from their point of view.
To build this much-needed highway to cope with Shenzhen's economic growth, engineers had to literally carve a valley. Suddenly, one big mountain became two. Without the Kunpeng Trail No. 1 bridge, animals would be robbed of an important habitat. When the bridge was completed a couple of years ago, there were anxious weeks. Researchers wondered if animals, like the leopard cat, a threatened species, would embrace their new thoroughfare.
Many people were curious about that question. Some citizens wondered whether animals would really use it. So we installed monitoring devices, little eyes you see here, to track animal activity.
Then, 23 days after the opening, the camera spotted a leopard cat taking its first timid steps across the bridge. Success! And since then, literally hundreds of animals have moved from mountain to mountain, showing development in nature can live in harmony. For the first time ever, China now has an ecological and environmental code. It builds on an array of environmental policies already in effect, designed to enhance life for China's 1.4 billion people. One of the driving forces behind this legislation is veteran environmentalist Liu Zhongmei.
China is still a developing country. We don't follow the old path of pollute first, clean up later. We must realize our goal of a beautiful China, where we can see blue skies and white clouds, green mountains and clear water, fish swimming in shallow waters, see the stars and directly experience the beauty of nature.
Sometimes nature lashes out. Sandstorms can still blow in from the north, affecting Beijing, even Shanghai. Yang Xuantao has been tending to her livestock and working the fields of Inner Mongolia her entire life. And she says she's often heard people blame this region for sandstorms across China. In the past, maybe, but not today, she says.
Here, the situation with the sand has improved a lot, and there is so much more vegetation now. There have been so many trees planted. The sand can blow up into storms like it did in the past.
Here is a graphic example. This is the region surrounding the provincial capital of Hohhot 20 years ago. Barren, brown. This is the satellite image today. Healthy and green. Everywhere you look, trees, Mongolian pine, Chinese pine, apricot, a staggering 3 million in all. But it wasn't easy.
The first thing you notice is how dry this sand is.
Yeah.
So
Funding for the trees came from a charitable donation. The technical expertise came from biologists and engineers with the environmental organization, the Nature Conservancy.
These circles are designed to address our biggest problem, the lack of water. So when there's natural rainfall in this arid climate, we try to keep as much of that water as possible around the roots of the tree to support its growth.
We're standing in the middle of a healthy forest. But 20 years ago, this wasn't here. It was all sand. But the successful efforts of planting some 3 million trees here, well, you're now seeing the fruits of that labor. And it hasn't always been easy. This really represents the growing distance from year to year. Some years, very good. Some, not so great. The reason? In this arid, semi-arid area, they didn't get a lot of rainfall, and that limited growth.
Kang Hong is the Forestry and Grassland Administrator of the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. Surrounded by greenery, the battle now is climate change, and China has its new weapon, its ecological and environmental code.
The code covers areas such as pollution control, ecological protection, and green and low-carbon development. Once implemented, it will play a very positive role in protecting the environment, addressing climate change, and providing strong support for people's livelihoods.
Now, China's leaders say is the time to seize on this commitment and build on measures the nation has in place to protect the environment.
The enactment of the Ecological and Environmental Code comes at a highly opportune time, as China has set its goal for reaching peak carbon emissions. We will continue to pursue green and low-carbon transformation of our nation's industries, the way we develop and use energy, and in further design and manufacturing of our modes of transportation. We will also see this environmental commitment in our new high-quality technology development. We will reduce pollution at the source. This will be China's fundamental solution moving forward.
This measure elevates environmental protection as a top legislative priority in China. You can see the commitment throughout the vast nation, and you can see this promise turned into action as China finds new ways for its 1.4 billion people. The world is also taking notice. The United Nations is praising China for taking what it calls a proactive role in international climate diplomacy. The stage is set. China vows to keep its foot on the economic accelerator, but not at the expense of risking what it holds dear: clear water, blue skies, for the health and benefit of its people.